Hello and welcome to Signal Driving School YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm a driving instructor at Signal Driving School. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to our channel and also turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when we release new videos. Today, I'm going to be doing a video at Carseldine, just around Carseldine Driving Test Center, and I'm going to be talking you through what I'm doing. Obviously, this does not mean that this is the exact route that the examiner is going to take. This is just to give you an idea of how the Carseldine Testing Center looks like. So the examiners, they have a lot of driving test route, and it's really hard to predict where the driving examiner is going to go. So anyone who is going to tell you that they know the test route, that's actually not correct. You really can't tell which route the examiner is going to take. But this is just to give you an idea based on my experience and the experience of some of my students, to give you an idea of some of the mistakes you are more likely to make in your practical driving test. So hopefully you won't make these mistakes, but yeah, I'm just gonna give you a general idea of how the Carseldine Driving Test Center looks like. So when you come to the driving test, you wanna make sure that you arrive on time. So Carseldine, you should arrive 20 minutes before the test, and there is a driving test designated parking area. So you need to make sure that you don't park in the public parking, and you want to park in the parking which says driving assessment vehicle parking only. That's where you should park your car, and then you need to go to the office to let them know that you've arrived. So make sure you are at the office 20 minutes before the driving test. Especially at Carseldine, they are strict on time, so they want you to definitely make sure that you are arriving 20 minutes before the driving test. And then from there, they check your driver's license. Obviously, you need to make sure that you bring a mask. If the restrictions are on, make sure you're carrying your mask, and also you want to make sure you sanitize the car before you go to the office, because that's one of the things that they get you to do. If you don't sanitize the car, they will give you some wipes which you can use to come back to your car, and then you make sure you wipe the dashboard and stuff like that. They ask you questions whether you've done your hazard perception test, whether you have any COVID-related symptoms or some stuff like that, or if you've been in touch with someone with COVID. And obviously, this is as the making of this video. These stuff are more likely to change in the future, so you need to check your booking confirmation to make sure that you meet all the requirements. Otherwise, let's get started with this video. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be driving where the driving test starts, and then I'm gonna be starting from there just to show you where you're supposed to park the car, and then from there I'm just gonna drive out. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the car in reverse, and then look around. I'm gonna reverse the car out. Make sure I'm checking. So when you coming in here, you need to make sure that you're going very, very slowly. So not driving too fast. And you will need to park your car in one of the areas. So I'm going to go ahead and reverse in one of the parking bay. And the parking bays here, they are very wide, so you don't have to really worry too much. Otherwise, you should definitely be able to park in these ones. Okay, so here we are. And then from here, once you go to the office, you come back down with your driving examiner. The driving examiner is going to be standing outside. And then usually what they do, I'm just going to show you what happens here. So you need to make sure that you've got your window down. The examiner will be standing outside. So they ask you to put the car in pre-ignition, and they ask you to indicate left, and they ask you to indicate right, and then they ask you to beep the horn as well. And then from there, the driving examiner will come inside the car, and it's at that time that you can actually go ahead and start the engine, making sure that you've got your seatbelt on. Don't forget to put on your seatbelt, and also make sure that you wind the window back up And the door, you want to make sure that the door is closed, because you don't want to fail the driving test because you maybe forgot to put on your seatbelt, or you forgot to close the door or something like that. And then once you do that, the examiner, once they will come inside the car, and then they ask you questions about the car. So they ask you questions such as your hazard lights, for example, or maybe they may ask you to turn on the headlights and the high beams. So I'm not going to specifically go through all the controls that they can ask you. Maybe we will do this in a separate video, but just to give you an idea, some of the questions can be around the hazard lights or your normal driving lights. I did another video where I actually specifically talk about all the controls that they will ask you in your driving test. But if you've done your driving lessons with your driving instructor, they should be able to tell you everything that you need to know that the driving examiner will be asking you to show in the driving test. But in the future, we will try and do a separate video where we actually talk about all the controls that a driving examiner can ask you in the driving test. All right, so from there, once everything is good, obviously the examiner will be like, when you're ready, you can go. So in that case, you put obviously the car in drive. I'm doing this video in an automatic transmission. So if you're driving a manual, obviously you need to put the car in first gear. So I'm gonna indicate and I'm gonna make sure I look. So this area is always busy during the week. So I'm gonna be going out. So once we get here, the speed says 20 kilometers per hour. So I'm gonna put on my right indicator. I'm gonna make sure I'm going slowly. So a lot of things will be happening around here. So cars will be entering. And then I'm gonna be going left. Now this area has recently been changed. So in the past, you would go down, go straight to exit this area. But nowadays they've put an exit here. So I have to turn left here. Now this place again has been recently changed, so this is a little bit tricky. So here there is a one-way sign, so I must go left, but I need to be careful because I can't cross that solid line. So I need to go into this left-hand side lane to build up my speed. So I can increase my speed and then I need to merge. Checking my mirror, shoulder checking, because you don't want to merge on that solid line. And then at this roundabout, I'm going to be going straight. So I see that it's a multi-lane roundabout. So I need to make sure that I'm in the left lane at the moment. So I need to make sure I stay in my lane and also slow down the car. Okay, so it's safe to go, so I can proceed. Once I'm about to exit the roundabout, put on the left indicator. And then here I see there is a speed sign which says 60 kilometers per hour. So I'm gonna kind of like build up my speed. Now here an examiner can ask you to change into the right lane, which is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna put on my right indicator, I'm gonna check my mirrors, I'm gonna shoulder check to the right, and then I'm gonna move the car. Once I move into the new lane, I'm gonna remove the indicator. Now this is where a lot of people can mess up. There is a lot of signs which says right lane must turn right. There is a number of them. There is also a lot of arrows here on the road which shows you that you must go right. So if an examiner doesn't say change back to the left lane, you must put on a right indicator and you must go right. A lot of people mess up here because a lot of them, they go straight, and obviously that's not good. And the arrow is not on, so I'm gonna move in the middle and give way to oncoming traffic, making sure the steering wheel is straight. Okay, the light has changed to red, but because I'm already in the middle, I can turn. Once I turn here, I see there is a speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour. I also need to remember to check my mirrors. So 70, I can do maybe around 67, 68. You don't have to exactly be sitting at 70 because it's very easy to go over the limit. And if you go over the limit, that's the end of the test. So checking my mirrors every now and then. Also keeping a safe distance with the car in front of me. So I don't know if you've read your road rules. You know that you need to keep at least 2 seconds between you and the car in front of you. Again, there is another speed limit which says 70 there. So checking my mirrors every now and then. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be exiting to the left. And there is a speed limit of 60 here. So the speed is dropping. So I need to make sure I adjust my speed. There is a bicycle lane on the left. Because I'm turning left, I need to make sure I check my mirror, do a shoulder check to the left. And then I turn into this slip lane. Keep indicating left. And then here, I need to make sure I check the right. And then no one is coming, so I can turn. Once I turn, there is a Form 1 lane sign. So I need to indicate mirrors, shoulder check to the right. And then I go. And then what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be turning left. So again, check my mirror, indicate left, slow down nice and early, and then I turn into the slip lane. Now this is a slip lane, so it's important. Again, people mess up here because I need to check the right. If there is no one coming, there is actually a car there, it's turning, so I need to make sure I give way to them. A lot of people make mistakes here because they don't stop. If you don't stop, that's the end of the test. And then here we see that we are going to go to the motorway. So, but there is a sign which says 40 kilometers per hour around the bend. So I'm gonna just go around the bend doing around 40. And then I'm gonna speed up immediately once I pass the bend. So making sure I speed up. Now, when you're merging, you need to be around 80. So indicating, checking my mirrors, shoulder check, and then I merge. Now here there is a speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour, so I need to make sure I'm doing 80 by the time I get to the sign. And then let's say the examiner asks you to change into the middle lane, which is what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna indicate right, check my mirrors, shoulder check to the right, move the car. And then let's say the examiner asks you to change into the right lane, which is what I'm about to do now. I'm gonna indicate right, check my mirrors, shoulder check. Now, what I did there was I let the car pass because it wasn't safe to change lane yet. And then let's say the examiner asks me to turn right at the traffic light, so I'm gonna indicate right. And I'm gonna make sure I adjust my speed. The two lanes are turning right, so I can use either lane. So I went into the far right lane. I need to make sure that I stay in this lane throughout, because if I drift into the right lane, into the left lane, that's the end of the test. And here we are braking, so we need to check the mirror. Okay, making sure I keep a safe distance with the car in front of me. And when you are in this, the traffic lights like this, don't relax too much. You wanna be looking at what's happening. You wanna be observing, checking the traffic lights. And then once it's green, so we're gonna start moving. But once we're passing through the traffic lights, we're gonna check left and right. Also, I see there is a Form 1 lane sign coming up. So what I need to do, I need to check my left side mirror. I need to also do a shoulder check to the left to make sure no one is merging, cutting in front of me. And I know here the speed is 60. So here, let's say the examiner asks you to turn left at the traffic lights. So I'm gonna adjust my speed nice and early. I'm gonna put on my left indicator. I'm gonna check my mirrors, my left side mirror, and then I'm gonna turn. Once I turn into this new street, I see there is a sign of 50. Very important to recognize that sign, because this street is actually wide. It looks like you can assume it's 60, but it's actually 50. Okay, so making sure I'm not going too fast. It's very easy to go over the speed limit here, but also making sure that I'm not going too slow. Checking my mirrors every now and then. Making sure I'm not too close to the car parked on the left. Again here, making sure I'm not going too fast. Checking my mirrors every now and then. Going to be going left at this intersection. I see there is stop signs posted on the road, so I need to make sure that I indicate, slow down. I need to stop completely as well. So I'm gonna stop fully. Checking the right, making sure no one is there. Also looking into my turn, just in case there's pedestrians crossing the road. Then I see a sign of 60 here. Well, after the turn, you want to look for the new sign. So I'm gonna increase my speed a little bit. Checking my mirrors every now and then. So here again, it's very easy to go over the speed limit because it's actually going downhill. Although it's 60, but a lot of people, they may end up doing 65, but that's not good. So you want to make sure you manage the speed very well. And don't worry about what the cars in front of you are doing, because the way the other cars are driving you shouldn't drive like the other cars. You need to obey the road rules. Okay, so at the traffic lights, the examiner can ask you to use the left lane to turn right. It's important to listen to those instructions because that means probably they want you to go left afterwards. So I'm gonna indicate, use the far left lane to go right. So I'm gonna make sure I adjust the speed. Then I turn, looking through the traffic lights as I turn. And let's say the examiner asks you to turn left at this slip lane. A lot of people mess up here as well. So this is a slip lane. We need to make sure we check. So after I turn, I need to check that side. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes here. If you don't give way, that's the end of the test. So making sure I wait for everyone to go through. Okay, so no one is coming, so I can turn. Now, even if you turn and there's no one coming there, the examiner will fail you because that's dangerous. You need to check because it's a slip lane. Okay, so making sure no one is trying to turn in front of me here. So at the traffic lights, I'm going to go straight ahead. Now, this video is actually also covering Zillmere. So Zillmere test area. So if you are doing your driving test on the weekend, you need to do it at Zillmere. So here after the traffic lights, I realized that I need to merge. So I'm gonna indicate, check my mirrors, shoulder check to the right, and then I merge. And then let's say the examiner asks you to go right before the traffic lights. So just before the traffic lights, there is a turn off here. So I'm gonna indicate right. I'm gonna adjust my speed nice and early. Now it's a blind spot, so I need to be careful, making sure that I give way to those cars coming up. A lot of people make a mistake here as well. They come up very fast. It's hard to see there, so it's important to slow down nice and early. And then here I'm going to be going left. So I'm gonna check my mirrors. I'm gonna indicate left. I'm gonna adjust my speed nice and slow, and then I'm gonna turn. Once I turn in this new street, this is very tight, so not rushing anything, making sure there is enough space. And here it's like a bend, so I need to keep to the left. Again, there's a lot of cars parked on the left, so I need to be careful. Sometimes there may be another car coming from the other side, so you might need to stop and give way to them. And then this is a residential area, so although I didn't see the speed limit, it's actually 50. Okay, so at the end of the street, I'm going to be going right. So I'm gonna put on my right indicator. I'm gonna slow down nice and early. And then I need to check. It's hard to see, so I need to, but now I can see, so I can turn. Once I turn, check my mirror. I'm going to be going left. So I'm gonna indicate left. I'm gonna slow down, check my mirrors, and then I turn. Now again here, there is a lot of cars parked on the left and right, so I need to be slow and go around this car. And then I'm gonna be going right. After I pass the car, making sure I come back to the left, and then turning right. So we're gonna turn right. Once we turn right, checking the mirrors. And then what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be pulling over on the left. So I'm gonna check my mirrors, I'm gonna indicate left, and I'm gonna slow down nice and early, making sure I'm not hitting the curb. Also being too close, usually it's not a good idea, because if the examiner asks you to reverse, that's not good. You might end up hitting the curb. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do two maneuvers. So I'm gonna do a straight line reverse, and then I'm gonna do a 3.10. So if an examiner asks you to do a straight line reverse, putting in reverse, checking my mirrors, shoulder checking both ways, looking behind physically, and then I need to start moving. Making sure I check, look behind, and usually after a while, the examiner will say to you, you can stop. And once we stop, they can ask you to turn around the car. Now, it's obviously hard to see in the video, but this street is actually very narrow. So in the past, it used to be that the examiner used to call this a 3.10, but these days, it's no longer called a 3.10. It's called a turnaround maneuver. So what that means is, if the road is very narrow and you can't squeeze in a 3.10, you can actually do a 5.10, because you don't want to hit the curb and damage the car. And obviously, if you're doing a driving test, if you hit the curb, that's the end of the test. So, I mean, it's actually possible. I'm actually going to do a 3.10 here, but I use some extra techniques for this, because as you're going to see in the video. So I'm going to indicate right, check my mirrors, shoulder check. I'm going to do a full lock to the right, making sure I'm not going too fast, because if you go too fast, the car doesn't have enough time to turn. And then once we are close enough, turn back like this, and then put in reverse, check, check. Doing a 360 look around. And then once I reverse, looking behind a bit, checking my mirrors as well, making sure I don't hit the curb. Obviously, you should have some kind of reference point of when you need to stop. Before I get to the back, I can do something like this. Put on a right indicator, check, check, looks good, so I can go. And so this is where I say, if you think you're gonna hit the curb, it's best to do a 5-point turn, because I know a lot of people, they hit the curb trying to squeeze in a 3-point turn. You need a little bit of extra technique. So which is why it's usually a good idea to invest in driving lessons. We're going right here, checking my mirrors. It's kind of like a giveaway sign, so I need to look. Then no one is there, so I can turn. And then here, looking here, there is a bend. Now, this is very tricky because there can be a car coming around the corner. So I need to go slow and making sure after I pass the car, come back to the left straight away. And then once I turn here, I'm gonna speed up. And again, these cars parked on the left, making sure I go around them. This street again is a bit narrow, so important to go around them. And then this intersection, I'm going to be going left. So I'm gonna indicate, I'm gonna slow down, check my mirror before I come back to the left after I overtake that car. And then checking here, there's no one, so I can turn. Once I turn, check my mirrors. And again here, it's very easy to go over the speed limit, so we need to make sure we are not going too fast. This intersection, we are going to go straight, but it's a staggered crossroad. So here, I don't actually need to indicate. Very important. If you indicate, the examiner is going to mark you, you're gonna lose marks. So, and here I'm gonna be doing a U-turn. So I'm gonna indicate right. I'm gonna slow down nice and early. Looking around, there's no one coming, so I can do a U-turn. Again, once we do a U-turn, we need to check. Okay, and then we can go. And then at this intersection, I'm going to be going straight. So this is again a staggered crossroad. So which means it's not straightforward. So you need to go to the left a bit. So checking, there is no one around. And then I need to go to the left a little bit. And then I go. If you cross over to the wrong lane, that's the end of the test. So you need to make sure you go to the left a bit to make sure that you don't go over in the wrong lane. After overtaking the car, check my mirror to come back to the left. Okay, there is this car parked on the left, so I need to overtake them. So checking to make sure no one is there. I'm going to indicate it as well and check. Once I pass them, I'm going to indicate left, check mirror, shoulder check to come back to the left. Because they were taking up a lot of space, so that's why I indicated. And there is dotted lines as well dividing the road, so that's why I had to indicate. At the end of the street, I'm going to be going right. So this route, this area is also similar to what you're going to be doing if you are doing your driving test in Zillmere as well. So I'm going to be going right, looking both ways. If there's no one coming, I can turn. Pedestrian crossing, there is no one there, so I can go, checking my mirror after I turn. So this road is 60. Now here there is a bus coming, so I need to slow down a little bit because we won't be able to fit. But because the small car is coming, we can actually fit. Then I'm gonna be going left. So looking in my mirrors, and then I turn. After I turn, I'm gonna overtake these cars, making sure that I'm not too close. After I pass that car, I need to come back to the left. And here, the examiner might not say anything, so you need to make sure you slow down by yourself, checking both ways. Because if you don't see that giveaway sign, the examiner will intervene and tell you to slow down. After I pass that car, I need to come back to the left, and I also need to check my side mirrors. And then I need to overtake this car as well, so I need to go around slowly because it's at the bend. Because if you go too fast, that's not good. After I pass the car, come back to the left immediately because it's hard to see that this is a bend, very tricky. At the end here, I'm going to be going left, so I'm going to indicate, check my mirrors, make sure I position the car properly to turn left, checking to the right, there's no one coming. Now, this is very tricky as well because there can be a car coming from the other side, so I need to be careful. I'm going to be turning right. I see there is a stop sign. After I overtake the white car, I need to come back to the left a little bit. And I need to stop completely, checking. There's no one coming, so I can go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this drive where the Zillmere driving test starts. So I'm going to finish where they start the Saturday tests. So I'm going to go right here. There is a stop sign. So I need to make sure that I come to a complete stop. But there is a lot of cars coming from both directions, so I need to wait a bit longer. Okay, so now I think I can go. Once I turn, check my mirror. Traffic light is green, so that's fine. Also, there is a lot of school zones around here. If you're doing your driving test during the week, you need to be a little bit careful if your test is during weekdays. So if your test is during school times, make sure you don't speed. And I'm gonna go into the left lane here, checking my mirrors. Speed is 60, so I can speed up a little bit. Now, looking ahead, I see there is a sign which says Form 1 lane, which means I need to merge. So I need to indicate, check my mirrors, shoulder check to the right, and then I merge. So 60 here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go left, indicating left, slowing down, checking my mirrors, and then I turn. After turning, I need to speed up. I didn't see any speed limit here, so that means the speed is 50. Very important. So this is where they start the Zillmere driving test. So the test will start somewhere on the left. So when you're coming to do your Zillmere test on Saturday, you need to park your vehicle on the right, so where those other cars are parked. So I'm gonna do a U-turn here, so indicating, looking around, shoulder check, then I turn around the car. Obviously there is no space, so I'm not gonna park. Reverse, looking both ways, and then I reverse. After I reverse, I'm gonna put on my right indicator, looking again, looks clear, so I can go. Once we go, we're gonna speed up, checking my mirrors. So there is no parking here, so I need to look for a parking where I can stop. But if you're doing your testing in Zillmere as well, you can park on the left there as well. You are allowed to park there where that truck was. I'm going to be pulling over somewhere on the left because I want to finish this drive, checking my mirrors, and then I'm going to stop. Obviously, once you stop, after the end of the driving test, put the car in park, handbrake on, and usually what happens, the driving examiner will take you to the office and they will tell you how you went with your driving test. So that was a quick video covering both Carseldine and Zillmere. So the two centers are very close to each other. If you are doing your driving test during the week, you need to go to do your test at Carseldine. And if you are doing your driving test on Saturday, you need to do your test at Zillmere because Carseldine is closed on Saturday. Yeah, otherwise, that's Carseldine. So it's one of those centers which I wouldn't consider it very challenging, but I also wouldn't consider it very easy. So it's kind of like average. A lot of people pass their driving test at Carseldine, and it's actually, I think, one of the biggest test center around this area here on the north side. They have quite a lot of examiners at Carseldine and Zillmere. I think the waiting list is usually about a month. Yeah, sometimes even 3 weeks. You might even be able to get the test booked at Carseldine within 2 weeks. Zillmere might be a bit more of a wait because it's always on Saturday, but for Carseldine, you shouldn't really have to wait too long to do your test. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment down below. And if you are interested in doing a mock test at Carseldine or Zillmere, you can get in touch with me. So you can either send us a message on Instagram, Signal Driving School Australia, or you can send us an email on our website. So if you go to our website, signaldrivingschool.com.au, there should be a section where you can send us an email about doing a mock test. So for mock test, you can either do a paid mock test, or if you don't mind being on camera, so if you want us to record the session and upload it on our YouTube channel, we can actually do the mock test for free. Sometimes. Usually every week we have a spot for someone to do a free mock test at one of the test centers that we cover. So yeah, drop us a message if you don't mind being on a camera and we'll do a mock test for you if you are planning on doing your driving test at Carseldine or Zillmere, or maybe some of the other centers like Greenslopes, Toowong, Strathpine. Sometimes I can do free mock tests at Redcliffe and Wynnum as well, so I can do those centers as well, I think. And occasionally I can actually go to Logan as well to do this free mock test. I don't do paid mock tests at Logan and Cleveland, but if it's a free mock test, because we're trying to help other learner drivers around the country to kind of like get over the stress of doing driving tests. So if you don't mind being on camera, you can get in touch with us and then we'll arrange a free mock test for you. So subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and also if you are doing a driving test soon, I wish you the best of luck. See you in the next video.